This is Down House in the English county of Kent in the southeast of the country. This is where Darwin lived and did a lot of his work, and it's where he wrote The Origin of Species. You can actually see where he worked inside. Unfortunately, I didn't take any photographs of the inside. I think that's an agave plant, although I'm not absolutely certain, but there are many plants around and about. But you can see a lot of it actually outside of the formal gardens is reasonably wild. Obviously it's a fairly managed landscape, as all English landscapes are, but a great place nevertheless to study the natural world. Recently I've been reading The Origin and came across this passage where it says certain plants secrete sweet juice apparently for the sake of eliminating something injurious from the sap. This is affected, for instance, by the glands at the base of the stipules in some leguminosae and at the backs of the leaves of the common laurel. This juice, though small in quantity, is greedily sought by insects, but their visits do not in any way benefit the plant. I'm not entirely sure Darwin was correct where he said it doesn't benefit the plant. I think there he was probably referring to extra-floral nectaries. Here you can see an ant at an extra-floral nectary. I think this is probably Lasius niger, and the plant is a legume. In fact, it's a common vetch, I think. And you can see here that the ant is very definitely attracted to this, and it is now thought that ants are particularly attracted to these extra-floral nectaries and provide some protection for the plant in that they can dissuade or even actively chase off herbivores that may otherwise damage the plant. However, that doesn't mean that Darwin's wrong on the big things. Inevitably, as time goes on, we learn more and more. And of course we gain better understandings of his concept of natural selection, for example. Here you can see in the grounds of Down House, you can see the greenhouse in the background, and there is a workshop associated with that. And it will be great to think, certainly to me it's great to think that that's where Darwin probably did a lot of his work and some of the experiments that he actually carried out on natural selection. In there are many plants. Whether or not, I don't know whether these were actually there during Darwin's time, but certainly things like this pitcher plant are really interesting for their insectivorous behaviour. There of course we have Venus flytrap, another carnivorous plant, and of course there another pitcher plant actually in the greenhouse itself. And the final one here is I think it's probably Drosera. It's sundew, another insectivorous plant. This is the inside of the workshop, and again, as I said, as Darwin's something of a hero of mine, I'd love to sort of think of Darwin actually working there and carrying out some of his experiments. Darwin's a hero not just because he came up with the concept of natural selection, the origin of species, but because he was doing this in a time, okay, clearly we were learning more and more, but didn't have the privilege that we have of understanding the mechanisms involved in natural selection, genetics for example. And of course he didn't have the technology that we have today. These shots just in the surrounding area, I think that's probably pear trees. There was an orchard associated with Down House, and you can see the sort of wild aspects, and you can just imagine Darwin there observing the comings and goings of the various mostly invertebrates, but he certainly did do work on vertebrates such as pigeons and so on. I'm just fascinated by bark, as you can see. Of course I'm not the only one who admires Darwin. In fact, even on the British £10 note, on the back of it you'll see a picture of Darwin that commemorates the great man and the ideas that he postulated.